Good morning, everyone. It is September the 4th, and I've been trying to bang out the cobwebs for a few minutes. Still haven't had my coffee, though, just a sip. But I started walking through the fig orchard. These are Debbie's contraptions. Nice, pleasant. And I just moseying about. And I noticed that I had some very nice champagne. We arrived back from vacation last night, and I made the typical mistake I always do, and I was just gobbling down these champagnes. Then I thought, it would make a pretty good video, but I've captured these before, not too often actually. Then I walked over to here, and then I started looking at Peter's honey, and I've still got a lot of Peter's honey that are just perfectly ripened. And this is after our son picked many of them while we were away on vacation. Peter's honey is, by the way, it is not Dadito. It is a derivative of Cadota. Oh, I didn't have that in the video. It is a derivative of Cadota, but it is not Cadota. It is sort of a sport of Cadota and different. And this particular one came from Sicily. And I might elaborate on that. And I don't know of anyone who has this particular strain in the ground. And I don't think it's ever been fairly represented to the fig community, except through my videos, because this is certainly a superior cultivar. Of course, you do know that Cadota is one of the most successful figs in the world, and is a highly commercial fig in California. And it goes back to Pliny the Elder, I believe, who described, I believe, 29 figs in ancient Rome. And this was among them. Well, Cadota was among them, which is a close relative, probably genetically identical as far as genes are concerned, to the Peter's honey, or very close in proximity to those similar genes, to those same genes. But I did notice that I had a lot of beautiful, very, very juicy, with nectar spilling out of them, Peters. Delicious. This is, in ground, and an older tree, and one with good weather conditions, and one planted on high and dry. You can never, ever take a fig from a flimsy, poor representative of this particular variety in a pot and taste one fig of a different variety, really, and then say, well, it's not that good. I mean, that is, I'm sorry, total irresponsibility. It's totally irresponsible. So I put down my champagne. Now, this is Peter's. This one here is Peter's, and this one is champagne. This is champagne, and I've got another one in there that I could grab too, and I might as well get it. Let me get under this net. There we go. Another. So these two are champagne. Let me open the champagne. I love this fig. Wow. I absolutely adore this fig. Value it highly. It's exceedingly outstanding, to use one of my descriptions. Look at that. Champagne. Now this one's in ground and therefore superior to anything in containers. And it's just perfectly ripe at that exact moment of perfection, that apex instant of perfection. And I wanted to share it with you, so I went in and got my phone, and here I am. I'm not going to go through all my varieties, but I'm going to eat this fig. Wow. I've got to tell you, that is just an almost unrivaled fig taste. Very unique. You can see the Celeste in its breeding by the shape of it. It's so dense and rich. I'll tell you, I want to make an announcement here to my figster friends. While I was away, I was contemplating a number of things. Now this is Peter's. This is Peter's. Wow, unique flavor. Very different from champagne. Very, very rich, very delicious. Look, I don't like it. You must know by all of the videos that I've posted that I just don't like comparing one fig to another, because a fig is a fig is a fig is a fig is a fig. They're figs. They're different. I said this 1,000 times. I'll say it again ad nauseum. Figs are figs. They're figs. They're not berries. They're not strawberries. They're not raspberries. They're not jammy blackberries. They're none of those things. They're figs. They're all figs. And they are wonderful and valuable and interesting in their own right. They don't have to be compared with berries or with honey or with anything else, because they're not honey either. They're figs. And I appreciate them all. And these so-called categories that I don't ascribe to necessarily, because there are always these outlier varieties that don't quite fit into any of these prearranged categories, but I don't think they do much justice to the fig varieties either, to the whole notion of being a figster. I really don't. And so I just take it one day at a time, one fig at a time, and I try to appreciate them for their individuality, whatever that individuality may be. Just incidentally, I'm walking through, I featured this not long ago, and when I did, it was just laden with beautiful black, perfectly ripe figs. This is my Ronde de Bordeaux, and you can see there's just not a single fig on it. The 4th of September, all gone. And the reason, well, it's an early fig. And besides the Tres Esplets, a Spanish fig, which rivals it in earliness, but not nearly in quality, it's my earliest, and of course my certainly largest producer of early figs. Notwithstanding, I might delineate the Desert King and other San Pedro types. I have one other type, the Feliciano Bianco, because they're just like main crop figs. Their quality is high and they're very early. They're early around just before the 4th of July. They start to ripen, as I've explained before. But of the main crop figs, it's the earliest, even before Celeste. And it's one of my most valuable players in my collection. I would never, ever, 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 never, ever, never, ever, ever part with my magnificent Ronde de Bordeaux variety. I so value it. So I wanted to show you something else. So hang in there. Don't get discouraged. I know I can be a little winded. Not a little, a lot winded. And not more than, and more than occasionally. Maybe always. But I wanted to show you the Italian 258 and the black Madera in containers, which are getting ripe. And last night I committed another foolish act, and I just started eating them one after another. They were so good, but there's plenty. So I'm going to put you on hold here, and we'll walk over that way. I would be remiss if I didn't stop just for a brief second to look at the Alma figs. Our son didn't tend to them as carefully as I do, so I see a couple little insects. Not too bad, but they're getting ripe. They're really getting ripe well, and they're a delicious fig, and they're my latest in-ground fig variety that I have. So now it's time to begin picking them. I've got some fig hygiene to manage now that I've returned. I was away for quite a while. I see there's still some LSU Tiger, and they look very nice. Delicious. As this cultivar gets older, I've learned to appreciate it more and more each year. I love this. I highly recommend this cultivar. And Alma. Alma is a wonderful fig. It is a beauty. It's a wonderful fig. And it's nice to stagger, as I said before. Stagger your figs so that they don't all get ripe at the same time. This is a delicious fig. I can't wait to come back to this, because there's a lot still on there that I'm going to devour. This is the other side of one of my Peter's honey figs. And caught the net in my shoe. I love these figs, and there's a lot of them here that are ripe. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. That one's really intense. So good. Here's another beauty. Oh, this is a splendid. Oh, it's cracked. It's cracked. Again, I'm not going to eat that one. It doesn't smell bad, but I got plenty here, so it really is foolish to eat them if they're not perfect. This one has honey in its eye. I'll take a bite out of this one. I'm going to save a few of these. There's some really nice ones up there for Debbie. There's a beautiful one back there. I see that one. Can you see that one back there? Right there? Oh, wow. That's going to be a good one. Okay, this one's tops. This one's so packed with rich, dense flavors. Exceedingly outstanding. This is why I grow figs. You wonder, or maybe you don't wonder, why I'm so enthusiastic about my fig hobby. Well, it's because of moments like this that I am. And do you blame me? Can anybody? Oh, there's another. There's a perfect Peter's honey right there. Wow. Oh, this is going to be. And I ate so many last night. I'm not exaggerating. I try not to. I deliberately avoid it. But I ate at least 30 figs. And I would not be surprised if I ate 40 figs last night. Now, this Celeste, this is my largest Celeste. I featured it before. It's done. It's over, September the 4th. And so is my O'Rourke. The O'Rourke's all finished. These are early figs. They're all done. But as early as my Peter's honey is, and it is early, medium early, it's still got plenty of figs getting ripe because it's so prolific, for one thing. It's so prolific. And let's please mention the fact that this tree produced a lot of outstanding Breba. Completely outstanding Breba. And it did. And they are better. I know it's hard for anyone to understand. That's why anybody testing Peters, which really no one has, I've heard them test Dadito, not even Cadota really, but that is not Cadota, period. And if you look up the literature, it will say that, it will state that categorically, clearly. And Peters came from, it is a derivative, once again, of Cadota, but it is a sport of Cadota. It is different. And then it was grown, this one comes from Sicily, and we talked about the geographic differences and the evolutionary changes that take place due to differences in soil and climate and so on and so forth. But it's nice to have a fig that gives you a huge Breba crop, a big Breba crop of large, high-quality figs, and they get ripe around the 4th of July right after, and then it just continues to produce right on up until November, or October at least. It's good to have those kinds of varieties in your in-ground collection. And again, strive to get some into the ground. If you can, by all means, get them into the ground. It's a different science. It's a different experience, okay? I've had some people ask me about my, let me bring this conversation over to a few of my container figs. I stopped again. This is my other, on the corner of the house, my other much older, larger Peter's tree, and it too is laden. It's heavily laden, still laden with plenty of fruit, as you can see. And so I just wanted to feature that very quickly. There we go. Another Peter's. If you can see it, huh? I can't see it. It's a little shady under the sage tree here. There you go. See the honey dripping from it. More Peter's honey. I'm going to pick them when I'm finished with this video. Exquisite. So good. I love this fig. One of the most popular and successful cultivars in the world, really. Hey, little fella, you got caught in the net. Oh, well, I'm here to rescue you today. Where are you? Oh, there you are. You beautiful thing, you. All right. Calm down. I'm not going to hurt you. I don't know if I can reach you, though. Oh, did you get out? Okay. Looks like it escaped. This is my Sicilian dark, or I call it black Sicilian. And there's still quite a lot of figs on here, and there's going to be more getting ripe, I'm happy to say. This is a little bit later than my other Mount Etna types. The season's truly winding down, though, but there will be plenty of figs around for a while. Again, the importance of staggering your varieties. I ate a lot of these last night. Couldn't help myself. So I apologize for that, because it would have made for a better video, but there's still plenty of, these are Italian 258s, and these are gone already. These are, this is one of my baby. I featured a series of videos, my baby black Madera, and I've given a lot of trees away, by the way, and I planted a lot to the ground, and some of that is experimental, and I'll report the results to you next summer. But this is one of my little baby black Maderas. Let me sit down for a second. I haven't even had my coffee yet. And I ate a few of these last night. I so like black Madera. I have to tell you, the ones I tasted last night, look at that. Oh, isn't that sublime? How majestic is that? I have to tell you that of the figs I ate last night, and this is always an ongoing controversy about, which fig is better, Italian 258 or black Madera, but I have to say, of the ones I ate last night, the black Madera, this year, and I remember I told you, every year, you can expect different results from different trees, depending on a million different variables and important factors that can't be overlooked or dismissed. But this year, the black Madera just tastes better than my Italian 258s so far. Wow. How top notch is that? That is really good. And by the way, I want to tell you, let me just, I brought one of these in for Debbie last night, and there's still more on the tree here. There's a nice one right there, you see it? Back there. Oh, that one's nice and right. But I want to tell you that, hold on. With all this technology and AI and everything, I don't know if someday it will be possible to to convey a taste experience. I wouldn't doubt it. I wish I could do that, because what I just experienced defies description. It's just that good, really good. But I wanted to say that I hammered these stakes in the ground in the spring. These figs never saw the greenhouse this year. I took them out of the isolation room. My son did. Is this thing on? Wait a minute. Let me get that down. Why do I have this on? Jeez. I had it zoomed. I'm sorry about that. I'm not the best photographer here. Video maker. But I hammered these in the spring, and they've been here ever since. They've never been moved. And here we have ripe figs, and even black Madera and Italian 258. The Smith are already gone. On by September the 4th, and before that, because there were quite a few here when I arrived last night, and my son ate some when we were away. So that reinforces what I've said before, that I don't like figs in my collection that aren't going to get ripe and that aren't extremely productive. They have to be workhorses. And I can tell you that, say what you will about Italian 258 or Black Madera, two of my favorite figs, for late experiences, for late enjoyment. Let me make that very clear. That's very important to make extremely clear. Say what you will about these varieties, they are very, very, very productive, and they can get ripe, and they do get ripe in this climate if you put them out in full sun. If you store them, overwinter them successfully, like I try to, you're going to get delicious figs to eat. For sure, you can count on it. At the end of the season, when a lot of the other varieties have already petered out, like the Ronde de Bordeaux, which is no more. This is Italian 258. Very, 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 very delectable, sweet and creamy, but it still doesn't rival the Black Madera this year. This one still doesn't, so I'm very surprised. I've got other videos where I compared them. You might want to go back and look. I have a lot on Black Madera. One of them, the Fig Connoisseur, is a good video, I think, that any of you that are interested might want to go back and watch, where I compare wonderfully ripe Italian 258s with Black Madera, and we get Penny Pop. She's the Fig Connoisseur, I will tell you. Spoiler. And Penny Pop, I think she gave the nod to Italian 258, and they were so good. I have to tell you, and I say it in the video. I won't compare them. I wouldn't compare them. They were so close that it would have been foolish for me to this. Wow, is this net endless? Oh, here we go. That's a big. Look at this, 258. Wow, look at the size of that. Man, here's another beauty. Look at that. Let me pick that. Oh, let's take them back. There's more ripe ones here. Aren't they beautiful? They're so beautiful. This is so much fun. I see a Black Madera that's fully ripe down there. There was one Black Madera last night that I popped off that was actually drying on the branch, and it had shriveled up a little. I can't even describe it. I won't even attempt it, because it would be in vain. God, it was so good. I tell you, I love Black Madera, and I love the Italian 258 almost as much. Let's break this one open. Debbie doesn't like when I break them open. She says, cut them with a knife, but I can't do it. But you can see how glisteningly beautiful that Italian 258 is. I just wanted to share these experiences with you. I noticed a couple Joliet that were ripe last night, and I gobbled them down behind the shed here, behind the sheds. And I've got other fig varieties to show, but I'm going to cut this one short. I thought that you would appreciate this, and pretty soon they'll all be gone. I'm going to eat these. I'm going to bring these two into Debbie. And I want to express my thanks for your visit. I always appreciate your visits. I hope you learned something, or at least are mildly entertained whenever I make these videos. I like doing it for you. It's fun. And these are historic recollections for us as well to refer to and revisit in the future. And so I can say that that's a very valuable asset that I'm accumulating over time. And my primary purpose is, of course, to convey information over to all of you fixers out there that might be entertained or interested, as I am interested and certainly entertained by my favorite hobby in the world. So this is a beautiful day. It was 72 degrees when I started filming today on the 4th of September. In Zone 7A, for those of you that ask, although I try to put it in almost every one of my videos. And here you can see these figs never benefited by an early start. They just came out of the isolation room in I think it was April, early April, and I put them out, and that was it. And luckily I didn't get a heavy frost that killed them back. Maybe it was the middle of April. And here they stood. They have stood for the whole time. Now that it's getting fall, I can see the color starting to change a little on my baby black Madera. It won't be long and I'll be putting them back in the isolation room that I featured and posted a video about my isolation room that I built in the basement of one of the places that I own. Actually, our son built it and did a spectacular job. Did a great job for his dad. And that's where they stay every winter. I gave a lot away to friends. I know where they are. They know that they're going to keep them and not give them away. And I know the people that I gave them to are professionals or good friends that know about videos. And so I know where they are, and I can enjoy them when I visit them. They're going to be making cuttings too and expanding their collection. I've gotten away from having a lot of figs in the container because it's too restraining. It just confines our movements. We like to travel a lot. It's a big responsibility, although our son has really stepped up to the plate. Hold on a second. Oh my God, look at that. This is something that I don't want to let Debbie see. Geez, I just went over to the water barrels. My neighbor's got his lawnmower out over there, and I walked away from the figs to get behind the sheds to finish off my video, and then I saw this snake in the water barrel. Now that's a variety that I don't know enough about. I don't like it. It's not a gardener snake. It's not a black snake. It's one that I am leery of, I have to say. And it looks like it's tired. I have to save its life, though. So I don't know what to do. I don't kill snakes. But that one will scare Debbie. She's frightened of snakes. Are you seeing it? Let me put these figs down. This is interesting, so we'll keep this to ourselves, though, okay? Everybody out there, all my fixture friends. Let me see if I can get a zoom on this. Can I zoom in on it? There it is. Can you see it? Any of you out there that can identify this snake, please comment. I never saw one like this. I'm familiar with the snakes. It's not a coral snake because the colors aren't right. And it might be maybe it's a pine snake. I'm not sure. But we're going to find out. But I got to let this snake out of here. let me get a board in there so it can get up on the board. It's tired. And then I'll catch it and I'll release it somewhere a little further away from the property. There's a wooded area and a spung not far from here. I can walk it over there. All right, well, I'm going to bring this to a conclusion. Remember, don't tell Debbie. And thanks for your visit. Good day.